Hello everyone. So we are meeting again, and as we were discussing the topic fundamental unit of life, this chapter we were doing. So today also we are continuing the same chapter. And in the last class, actually in the last video, I have discussed about the discovery of the cell. We have talked about the scientists who played their role in its discovery actually, and we have talked about the cell membrane. We have talked about different types of solutions. We have understood about hypertonic, hypotonic and isotonic solutions. And so after that, in this chapter, what we have to study is we have to study about the structure which is present, which is called as cell wall, as we have discussed about the cell membrane. But the very important thing about cell wall which we have to know here is this is only present in plant cells. This is not present in animal cells. Cell wall is only present in the case of plant cells. So as we were doing plasma membrane or cell membrane, they both are same. We have understood that the cell membrane is made up of lipids and proteins. Lipids are basically the fat molecules, and proteins. So cell membrane is made up of lipid and proteins, while the cell wall, it is made up of cellulose. Cellulose is this is very basic thing, and it is present to provide the strength to the plant cells actually. As the plant cells, you can touch the plant cells. They are very hard if you touch them. So the cellulose material which is present in the plant cell, it is basically present to provide strength to the plant cell, because they have to bear many type of changes in the atmosphere. They have to stay at a common place for all the time. So that's why they need some strength, and that is given by the cell wall which is present in them. So this is a distinguishing feature between a plant cell and animal cell, that cell walls are only present in the case of plant cell. And as the cell walls, their function is related. So what are the other functions beside providing that strength to the cell? What the other things which they are doing? So what happens actually when the cell is surrounded by a hypotonic solution? When it is surrounded by a hypotonic solution, then in that case what will happen? When the solution which is covering the cell, it is hypotonic, that means it is having more concentration of water, more concentration of solvent. So what will happen in that case? We have discussed this thing in the last video itself, that when the cell is surrounded by a hypotonic solution, the water molecules will tend to come inside. They will try to penetrate the cell, and what will happen as a result of this? The cell will swell in size. It will become big in its size, as it has gained water molecules from the outer environment. So what happens basically, as the cell wall is present in the case of plant cell, and just after the cell wall, cell membrane is also present. It's not like that when cell wall is present, cell membrane will be absent in the plant cell. Plant cells contain both of them, cell wall as well as cell membrane. So in the case of hypotonic solution, when the cell is gaining water from its external environment, it will swell in its size. It will swell and it will try to touch the cell wall, as it has two different types of covering actually. The cells have cell wall, and then they have cell membrane. So when it is gaining the water and it is swelling in its size, it is becoming bigger, so the cell wall will try to touch, the cell membrane will try to touch the cell wall, because it is increasing in its size. Its size is increasing, so it will try to touch the cell wall, but the cell wall is that much tough that it is not going to be affected with this swelling, you can say. In normal condition, what will happen? As the cell is swelling and it is becoming bigger in size, so in most of those cases the cell can burst. it can burst and the cell can be damaged, it can be destroyed. But because of the presence of cell wall, as it is also applying some pressure to the, it is applying opposite pressure. The cell membrane is applying pressure in this direction, while the cell wall will be applying the pressure in this direction. Both these pressures will be opposite to each other, and what will happen in that case, the cell will be able to sustain, it will not be damaged, it will not be destroyed. So this is very important function of the cell wall, that it can make the plant cells, or it can make the plant cell to withstand in the changing environment, whether it is getting the water molecules, whether it is becoming bigger in size, or whether it is shrinking in size also. In that case also, when the cell is surrounded by hypertonic solution, where the water concentration is less in the outer environment and it is high in inner environment of the cell, what will happen in that case? In that case, the plant cells will lose some water, because the water concentration is low in its outer environment, it is present in hypertonic solution. So the cells will lose some water, and what will happen in that case? The cell will shrink, it will shrink in size, and this process of losing water in the presence of hypertonic solution, this is called as the plasmolysis. So the cell wall helps the plant cell in both the situations, when it is present in hypertonic solution as well as when it is present in hypotonic solution. It makes the cell able to withstand, it makes the cell able to tolerate its changing environment in all the conditions. So it is very, very important in its function, as it protects the cell, it provides structural strength also, and in these conditions, in the changing environmental conditions also, it helps the cell to withstand, to tolerate the changing environment. So these are the basic functions of the cell wall. Next we have the nucleus inside the cell, and as we say that the brain is control center of our body, in the same case, or in the same way, we say that the nucleus is the control center of the cell. The nucleus basically controls all the activities, it is the brain of the cell, it controls all the activities which are happening inside a cell. So what is basically, what is important about the nucleus, why it is the brain of the cell? So nucleus contains a very important structure that is called as chromosomes. These chromosomes are very, very important because they play their role in the division of the cell also, and these chromosomes are not visible in at any point of time. Actually, they can be seen or they are visible in the cell only at the time of cell division. They are present before that also, but they are present as chromatin material actually. But at the time of division, when the cell is ready to divide, they become arranged, and they arrange themselves in the form of chromosomes. So what is present in the chromosomes? Actually, the chromosomes have genes, and the genes have DNA. DNA is basically the deoxyribonucleic acid, and this is very, very important when we talk about the hereditary of material from the parent to the offspring. As we all know that the cells, the materials, they are transferred from the parents to the offspring. So this DNA is the genetic material which is transferred from the parents to the offspring. So that's why this DNA is very, very important. And when we study about the structure of the nucleus, it is surrounded by a double membrane layer that is called as nuclear membrane. It is double membrane layer, and it has some pores which are present on it, and these pores are basically for the transport of material from the nucleus to the cytoplasm. These pores are called as nucleopores, and the fluid material which is present inside the nucleus, it is called as nucleoplasm. So some materials are always transferred from the cytoplasm to the nucleus. This exchange of material, it takes place inside the cell. And when we talk about the structure of nucleus in each and every organism, it is also not the same in every case. It is little bit different in different organisms. As for example, if we talk about bacteria or very smaller organisms, what is the situation in those cases? The nucleus is not completely surrounded by a nuclear membrane, but it is, present without any membrane in those organisms, very, you can say, small organisms. So these organisms which don't have the nuclear membrane around the nucleus, they are called as prokaryotes, while the organisms which are having a covered well membrane nucleus, they are called as eukaryotes. And this is the point of difference between these two, eukaryotes and prokaryotes, here, that the prokaryotes, they don't have the nuclear membrane, while the eukaryotes, they are having their nucleus covered with a double layered nuclear membrane. In prokaryotes, what happens actually, this chromatin material is present in them, but it is associated with some proteins, and it is present in coiled form in a particular region, and that region is called as nucleoid. That nucleoid is only considered as a nucleus of for those cells because it is not surrounded by a nuclear membrane. So these are some differences between the prokaryotes and eukaryotic cell. And as I was telling you about the structure of the chromosomes, they are always present in the cell as chromatin material, you can say. The chromatins are thread-like structure which are present in the cell, but at the time of cell division, they arrange themselves in the form of chromosomes. So the nucleus is very, very important in its role in the division of cell, as well as it carries the DNA, which is the main hereditary material, genetic material actually. So it is also important in the hereditary of genetic material from one generation to the next. So these were the things about the nucleus. Next we have the thing which is present in the cell that is called as cytoplasm. Now see, what is meant by cytoplasm? Cyto means cell, related to the cell, and plasm means the fluid which is present. So cytoplasm is basically the fluid which is present under the cell membrane or plasma membrane, you can say, or we can understand it like this also, that the fluid which is present between the cell membrane and the nucleus. As we have just talked, that the fluid material which is present inside the nucleus, it will be called as nucleoplasm, and the fluid material, as for example, suppose if this is the cell and this is the nucleus, so this is the cell membrane, this will be your nucleus, and the fluid material which is present here, it will be called as cytoplasm. And the material which is present here, it will be called nucleoplasm. Some pores are present here in the layer which is surrounding the nucleus. These pores are present here, and these pores are for the transport of basically the exchange of materials in between the nucleus and the cytoplasm. So the cytoplasm is also very, very important because it basically acts as a medium. It acts as a medium as it consists of various cell organelles. Now we are coming to the most important part of the chapter actually, because in this chapter we have to study about different cell organelles which are present in the cell. So these organelles will be present in the cytoplasm itself, and the cytoplasm will be acting as the medium for the exchange of material in between different cell organelles, because the cell organelles will be performing different functions, but there is the need for them to exchange the substances with each other, and this exchange of substances, it will happen with the help of a medium that will be called as cytoplasm. So the cytoplasm is also very, very important in the case of the cells. So these are the basic structures which are present in a cell. Actually, we have talked about cell membrane, we have talked about cell wall, the nucleus and the cytoplasm. In the next video, I am going to discuss about various cell organelles which are present inside the cell. That is also going to be very, very interesting because each and every organelle is performing different types of function. So just see you all in the next part of the video. Thank you for watching this one.